And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. On today's show, it's another edition of Tell Al Tuesday. I've asked John to come back and join me on the show. Now, John is one of my favorite guests, and I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna lay that right out in front of you. I'm just gonna tell you that John's one of my favorite guests. Not that I like John any more than I like any of my other guests. One of the reasons John is one of my favorite guests is because John comes from a place that I didn't come from. Yeah, he comes from a place that I didn't come from. And what I love about John's story is that you, too, may come from a place that I didn't come from. So what am I getting at? All right, let me just lay out my life for you. I'm going to try and do it in less than like 20 seconds to see what we can get done. I was told to go to school, get good grades, get into college, get good grades, get into the workforce, work, save some money, and then maybe at the age of 65 or 70, I'd be able to retire. That was the conventional wisdom that I was taught. Many of my friends were taught the same thing. As we went through school together, we were all reinforced with that conditioning. We were all told the same thing. But John was told something a little bit different. John came from a slightly different background than I came from. John came from a background where his father and mother had set money aside for him to go to college. So, I think the reality of it is John heard the same story that I heard, but he got a different opportunity than I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right there because I think I've set the stage. Most of you that are Lifestyles Unlimited members, you know exactly which John I'm talking about. But those of you that are not Lifestyles Unlimited members, let me introduce to you my good buddy, John. John, welcome back to the show. How are you today? Did I get that backstory kind of right, or did I go off a cliff?
No, you did great, Alex. You did awesome setting that up. I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and hang out and get to tell my story a little bit.
So let's just get right into your story, because this is an interesting story. And what I love about your story is not only are there people out there that are going through a similar situation that you went through, there are parents out there that are advising their children to go to school, get good grades. They're saving money up to spend on college. And let's just get to the opportunity that you had. Go ahead, tell them, John, what opportunity did your dad come up with?
Yeah, so even before graduating high school, I grew up in a family that was pretty comfortable being outside the box. My grandfather started a steel business back in the 70s, and took some huge risks to become an entrepreneur there. My father and uncle now run that property, and so being self-employed and was already kind of part of our blood. And then educationally, we were homeschooled all growing up, and homeschooling's gotten a lot more popular now, but back in the 90s, not so much. And so that we were already outside the box there. So it wasn't as big of a leap, at the time to say, hey, is the brick and mortar traditional college experience really the best option for us? And so they being my parents, presented the opportunity to me to use those college funds to start a business with rather than going the traditional brick and mortar college route. And that sounded pretty appealing to me. And so we really set out to find an industry more than anything, and real estate was something that had always kind of been intriguing. We liked the idea that we're buying and investing in stuff that you can go touch. The business model's relatively simple to understand. And then through some colleagues and connections, we found Lifestyles and realized that Lifestyles was going to give us a huge advantage in the education and not making any kind of massively critical mistakes starting out, especially, and the network of all the other members there that would be able to share with us their learning experiences. And so we joined that and jumped right in. Pretty quick, started buying single family homes. And again, I'm a high school graduate here. I'm 18, 19 years old. And we started buying single family homes back in like 2007, 2008, when everything was getting foreclosed on. You could get houses pretty cheap back then. And I got real good at renovating, leasing, managing these rental homes. And I did that for about a year and learned a lot doing that. But then we realized this is going to be a good fit. We want to make a career out of this. And so moved from those single families into a 50-unit multifamily apartment complex in the hood of Southwest Houston. And my Christian suburban bubble got popped pretty fast running that property in day in and day out. And that was really where I kind of sunk my teeth into the multifamily side of the business.
And I think what's really interesting is that your grandfather started a very successful business. He passed it on to his son, your father. A decision was made that you weren't going to be in the steel business. Can you explain the backstory on that? Because I'm really curious now.
Yeah, sure. That was certainly an option, and that would have been a great career and a great life. I don't knock it at all. Something that I think real estate offered that maybe was not quite as much of an option in that other business was the schedule flexibility and the potential, time with family. And so we're kind of getting ahead of the story here. But fast forward, to today, I have a tremendous amount of flexibility in my schedule, and I'm not intricately involved in the day-to-day operations of the business. I try to work, on the business more than in the business. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I mean, the getting those quality moments and quantity of time with my kids when they're in this window of time when they just want nothing more than hang out with dad and play Legos and wrestle on the floor and watch a movie or whatever else. I want to soak that in as much as possible, and I'm so thankful for those opportunities that real estate has provided. I had the blessing of starting out when I was, right out of high school, no bills, no family yet, and I could do nothing but real estate all day long and really build that business. And not everyone needs to do that or has to do that. There's lots and lots of different ways to, achieve that financial freedom and flexibility that you want through real estate without necessarily doing it the same route and path that I have done. So I would say there's don't think that you've got to own all these properties, be the main owner of these properties. There, you can invest passively, or you can do it on a smaller scale and still get a lot of the benefits from it. But it is. I will say also, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm good at copy pasting what other people have done well and calling and asking for advice and following advice, and there's the model is out there, the map is out there. I just follow the map.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's what Lifestyles Unlimited is all about. It provides different paths that anybody could take depending on what your desire is, what your desired outcome, where you are in life. There are different paths that people can take, and you've seen many people join Lifestyles Unlimited and change their lives through doing what we do as members. I mean, you're a member yourself, but you've been a member for 18 years. You've seen more than many members have seen. So tell me, who have you seen go through that transformation that just made you sit back and go, wow, that was amazing?
Yeah, it was really inspiring to me. The first 5 years I was a member, I did single-family homes for about a year, and I did that small 50-unit for like 4 years. And that was hard, and I'll be honest, not a lot of fun. Having to drive down to an hour from my house and work at this property, it was really hard. It was like I mentioned, it was a tough market, tough economy. But being able to go to the Lifestyles events and meet people there and meet guys that were where I am now, and be able to look and be like, oh, this is where the map is going. This is where the map leads. What is your life like? How do you run your business? How do you structure things? And learn from those guys. And that being able to be around those men and women who had the successful portfolios and companies that were much farther down the road than I was, gave me the inspiration to stick through the hard times at the beginning when I was kind of down in the trenches, learning the business and building the company from the ground up. And so that was really inspirational to see guys grow their businesses and be 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead of me and be able to look to them and ask them questions and advice and make sure I could kind of, ride their wave.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and I'm in the same boat that you were in, say, 18 years ago. I'm in the process of becoming a lead investor. I finally decided, okay, retirement was fun. I did that for about 5 years. I got a little bored, so now I'm going to jump back in the saddle, except I'm going to do what you've been doing for the past 18 years. What advice would you have for a guy like me that's coming out of retirement that's going to try and pattern himself after your success?
Man, something that was really helpful to me early on is being really quick to ask questions and then going and doing exactly what I was told. I had a plethora of very wise and experienced mentors that I called almost every day with a question about, what do you think of this? Have you heard of this property? How do I fill this lease out? How do I format an email signature line? How do everything you can imagine. And they were so quick to help and share information. And a lot of that was because I went and did whatever they said. And that really kept the information flowing and was a big key to my success.
It sounds like you had a lot of people that were interested in your success, that were willing to share information, which ironically is the culture of Lifestyles Unlimited. This is what we do in our organization. Am I on target?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very hospitable and open book environment.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, I'll tell you what, John, we're going to break. When we come back from the break, I want to get into some of the deals. I want to talk about the 7 different apartment communities that you own. Stick around.
Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show returns in a moment. Got questions? Go to lifestylesunlimited.com.
Lifestyles Unlimited wants you real estate retired. Learn the roadmap to wealth building. Impact your family for generations. Just like Lifestyle members Chad and Lisa.
They're learning the rope. They see this in their future too. It's benefited our children in the way they think of their future. It's taught them how to think in the millions.
Learn from the best. Lifestyles Unlimited, teaching you how to retire in 5 years or less while building generational wealth in this rapidly changing environment. Now's the time to take action. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007 for a 60% savings off the regular price. Our Financial Freedom Program membership for $297. That's $443 off our regular price. With over 33 years of educating and mentoring experience, let Lifestyles Unlimited help you become real estate retired. Text radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Because on today's show, I have John joining me. Now, John's been on the show before. You may recognize his voice. And John has been a member of Lifestyles Unlimited for, now get this, ready? 18 years. He's been a member for 18 years. I mean, if there's anybody in the Lifestyles Unlimited community that knows where the bodies might be buried, it could be John. But we don't bury bodies in Lifestyles Unlimited. What we do is we help people flourish, which is a little bit different than burying bodies. So as we're going to break, John, I was mentioning to the audience that you own currently 7 different apartment communities. How many units does that total up to, by the way?
It is just shy of 1,700. It's like 1,670 something and change.
How painful is it for you to go to every door in every apartment community and collect rent on the first?
I feel it was a leading question. I definitely do not have the capacity, time to do all that. It takes a team. Real estate is a team sport, and I have a phenomenal one. We've spent the last 12 years growing and molding and shaping our culture and our team to be able to run things well. So I've got about 45 or 50 employees across all the properties and at the corporate level that keep all the wheels turning and make sure that we are delivering that top-notch customer service to our residents, great returns to our investors, and a phenomenal working environment to all the team members.
You know, if I didn't know better, it sounded like to me you're running a business, not collecting rent.
Yeah, I try. Whenever I get involved in running the day-to-day of the business, things usually go off rails pretty quick. I am much better at working on the business than in the business. I've discovered that my skill set is much more equipped to casting that long-term strategy and vision and seeing what something can become and putting the right people in place and empowering them to run with the ball. Whenever I get involved in the intricate day-to-day operations, it usually derails things pretty quick, and so I try to stay in my lane and let other people do what they do best.
So you've learned over time that if you find people that are more competent than you are to do specific tasks within your business, you actually become a more effective business owner.
Yeah, a phrase I'm going to steal from a guy named Craig Rochelle is when the leader gets better, everybody wins. And I love that because I feel like the more I learn about myself and what I should and should not be doing on a day-to-day basis, everybody in the organization benefits. And so it does take a team, and that's really what I'm still continuing to learn and grow and discover more is like figuring out what each person is uniquely good at and what their unique superpower is, and then conversely, what drains them and what sucks the life out of them, and how do I concentrate their roles and duties in a way that really takes advantage of their superpowers and removes things that drain their batteries, and let's give them to someone else who's going to be able to run with that ball a lot more effectively.
But what about your residents? I mean, what do you think about your residents? I mean, are they just there to live there and pay you rent? A lot of people see the residents as the source where the money comes from and something to take advantage of, and it's something we have to fight. A mindset we have to fight whenever we hire from other places within the industry where that's been the culture. And we are not running a charity by any means yet. Well, we are in a different way, which I'll get to in a minute. But at the same time, when you view your residents as the humans they are that deserve a dignified home to live in and a safe place to raise their families, it really changes the environment with which you want to operate their home in the business. And so we do a lot of, I want to say, extracurricular things for our residents to try to bring some life to them beyond just a roof over their head. And a lot of that was what led to actually this year I formed a nonprofit organization called Veritas Impact, or VEM Impact. Veritas is the name of my company, and this is going to formalize, codify, and expand a lot of things we are already doing and already have done over the years for the residents that go far above and beyond just a roof over their heads. And so big focus is on the kids that live on site. We have some pretty elaborate after-school kids club programs where kids home from school, both parents are working. We don't want them going home to an empty, dark apartment for a few hours. Like, we'd much rather them come to the community center, and we're going to have a super positive and nourishing culture environment there where there's a facilitator who's leading some character lessons, and we got a snack and help them with their homework, and there's group activities and games with other kids, and get to really have an opportunity to pour into those kids after school. And that gets even expanded during the summer when we're bringing in meals from the Houston Food Bank, and we're doing summer lunch programs and games throughout the day and soccer camps and other things. And then for the adults, the parents, we're partnered with the Harris County Medical Services and bringing in medical clinics on site for people who need medical care. We're doing computer training for some of our more technologically challenged residents, looking at ESL programs, a lot of emergency assistance when a family is facing a crisis.
either a personal crisis or maybe it could be a natural disaster or something happening on site at the property. So just trying to take a more holistic view of we have so many residents that might be vulnerable in one way or another living in our communities. What a great opportunity to make a huge impact on their lives in a positive sense, and then even more endear loyalty to the property, and get them to renew their lease and live there longer. And so, kind of aside from the for-profit business, I've got this nonprofit organization that we're launching and starting that my wife and I will fund, and we're going to be doing all those different programs at the properties.
Well, let me touch on this little two-liner that you wrote, and it's just kind of at the bottom of the bio. It's kind of insignificant as far as the text goes. It really doesn't stand out to me, and I almost missed it. But let me read it to the audience, and let's get your feedback on it. Have won over 30 industry awards from the Houston, Texas, and the National Apartment Association, plus a 9-time winner of Houston's best and brightest companies to work for. Why are you keeping that a secret?
Man, we're not trying to keep it a secret, but it is something that we worked really hard for and are very proud of. But more than anything, it points to how special the team is. Some of those awards are my individual awards. Many or most of them are team awards in some way. Property of the Year, Best Company to Work For, or our individual people winning awards for their specific positions, like the Manager of the Year or the Maintenance Technician of the Year and things like that. But it really exemplifies the special culture we have, where we try to make Veritas, which is the name of our company, Veritas, a special place to work where people feel like they are cared for, appreciated, and can achieve their potential. And the culture there is not one where we're trying. People are withholding information or worried about someone getting too good and getting promoted ahead of them. It's a very, let me help you, bring you along. Hey, your property is going through something hard. We're gonna send a team of people from other properties to go help you with this special situation and make sure you feel supported. And that feeling of somebody who's got my back is very very special and very powerful when someone is feeling overwhelmed and or facing something hard on site during the day.
Yeah, I think you could write a book just on that topic, because what you've done is you have laser focused in on the needs of your employees. You care about your employees. They're not just somebody that shows up and does 40 hours for you and then you just kind of push them to the curb. These are people that you nurture, that you care about. I would venture to say that you actually love your employees.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we try as much as possible to love on their employees and their families. We do some kind of full team event or get together at least once a month. As soon as I hang up with you from this show, we're going to a company birthday party, and we'll celebrate everybody who had a birthday in August and make them wear a silly hat and sit in front of a cake and sing to them, like they're 5, and it's super humiliating. We love it. And we do that every month. And then in addition to that, we'll do all kinds of stuff where we'll do family picnics and pay for everybody and their kids to come out to a ranch somewhere and get to ride a horse and enjoy some outdoor time. Last month, we rented out a huge party boat that went out of Galveston and took all of our maintenance guys fishing and the managers fishing offshore for a lot of them for the first time, and they loved that. We'll rent out a movie theater and let everyone bring their kids, and we'll go see a family movie with everybody and the kids. Just stuff like that throughout the year that makes people feel seen, heard, and known is really important.
Yeah, I'm sitting here reflecting back on my time in the military, and the military tried to do certain things kind of like that for us as soldiers. But at the end of the day, we were still just soldiers doing our job. But what you've created is an environment for your employees where they not only care about the business model, they care about each other. They're dialed in. You have dialed your employees in to the business model, and what that business model is doing for you is it's creating the results that you intended to achieve.
Yeah, for sure. We try to take a a three-pronged approach to designing a job for someone or providing a job for someone that, I would say if there's three elements of a good job or three elements of a successful job, one of them is what we just talked about, being known and feeling known by your leader on a personal level, way more than just this is, Cindy who shows up to work every day and this is her job, knowing, what that person's family is like, how many kids do they have, are they married, where do they live, what do they like to do, what's their favorite Starbucks drink, just that sense of really being known as an individual is really, really important. And then the other, two are you have to feel like you are measured objectively. You have to know if you're winning or not. You have to know if you're doing a good job. And so having metrics and scorecards in place such that someone can point to an objective measurement to know, man, I had a good month, I had a bad month. I had a good week, I had a bad week. And trying to design it 1 to 3 numbers, per position that is not a feeling of like my manager feels like I've been working hard, that they can't do anything about that, but it's way more something that can be measured, that the person has control over, that they can then know, man, I'm really crushing it. I'm not. So that for a leasing person, it's how many leases you get, how many leases are renewed. For a maintenance position, it might be how many service requests did I close? How many units did I get made ready? And that's really important that someone can know that they're being measured objectively and they have control over that. And then lastly, having that sense of purpose, knowing that by showing up to work every day, I am making a positive impact in the lives of others. And so, objective scorecards are great and being known by your leader is great. But when the really hard times come and the job sucks and you got to push through something, having that really deep sense of why I'm doing what I'm doing is so important, and feeling like you're where you're supposed to be. And, the old saying, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So it's real important to repeat the purpose behind the impact we're making. So like, at Veritas, we're not just trying to make the most money possible for our owners, our investors. We are trying to provide clean, safe, functional housing to the workforce of Houston, so we're a place where they can be proud to raise their families and be treated with the same dignity that God sees them with. And then I have to repeat that all the time. And we also provide those quality jobs to team members where they're treated fairly, they feel seen and valued, and they can achieve their potential. And then we give investors the opportunity to skip that middleman and of investment and really provide a transparent, fair way for them to invest in something that they can go see and they know is going to be a solid investment. And so repeating that over and over and over again and communicating that sense of purpose to our team members, gets them pushing through the hard times. So again, those three things, trying to make sure people they know if they're doing a good job or not. They have objective measurables to know if they're winning, being known on a personal level by their leaders, not necessarily being their best friend, but being known and seen and heard as an individual, and then having that sense of purpose and knowing the impact I'm making by showing up to work every day and pushing through the hard times to achieve that potential is very, very important.
Wow. 2 things for you. One, an excellent dissertation on how to develop a team. That was textbook perfect. 2, on behalf of Del Walmsley, the founder and CEO of Lifestyles Unlimited, I would like to confer on you the honorary degree of PhD in management on behalf of Lifestyles Unlimited University, because, man, that was awesome. That was awesome, John. Do you realize what you just did? You just gave a PhD level class in management, and you did it like in, 4 minutes. Pretty good.
Something I've grown that out of a book by Patrick Lencioni. I think his book is called The 3 Signs of a Miserable Job, and I grew a lot from that and have kind of taken it and run with it and applied it at our company specifically, and it's been a game changer.
Hey, we're getting ready to close the show out. So what I want to do is give you an opportunity to talk to the audience. And here's the question I have for you. Somebody sitting on the fence thinking they can't do it. What's your advice?
If I can do it, you can do it. There's a tremendous amount of resources out there. There's a tremendous amount of different paths you can take, and your path into real estate investing does not have to look like mine at all. There's many ways to do it, but it's an awesome medium, and there's plenty of help out there to make it possible.
And there you have it. A beautiful interview with a beautiful man who has a beautiful business model that was all created by membership in Lifestyles Unlimited. If you want to do what John's doing, you want to do what I'm doing, you want to do what the 50,000 members of Lifestyles Unlimited are doing, go to lifestylesunlimited.com and sign up.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.